let's cut this music down a little bit. Hello, and welcome to our stream. We just got started, just sent the message off on Discord. We are ready to go. We got a whole bunch of people here with us right now. That's awesome. We'll go ahead and jump into this in just a second. We'll give some people some time to hop in. Hello, everybody. Hello, welcome to the weekly stream. Welcome to MetaTailor's weekly stream. Today, we are looking at, once again, the character creator pipeline, going back and forth from character creator to MetaTailor. I found a really cool character on Sketchfab today, and I modulated it. We're going to take a look at it in a second. But what we're going to do is we're going to take a character out of Character Creator, send it over to MetaTailor, import all of these items in, put them on the MetaTailor Character Creator character. That was a weird sentence. And then send all of that back to Character Creator. And if we have time, maybe we'll play with the Mesh Extractor or something else along those lines. So that's what we're taking a look at today. So hello, everybody. Thanks for joining. Thanks for hopping on. Just going to give it another minute or so before we jump into it. Let me see. Do I have any cool news, cool events, anything MetaTailor related? I don't see anything off the top. Still pushing out updates, still working on making this better. So always feel free to join us on our Discord channel. Feel free to make sure you like and subscribe, but join us on our Discord. We've got a fantastic community. We answer all of your questions. We got support systems in there. All of the MetaTailor experts are in there. I am in there. So if you run into any issues or concerns, throw it in there. We got experts for MetaTailor, Character Creator. We got experts for Maya, Blender, any other program, Unreal, Unity. We've got experts in there, not just from MetaTailor, from our community. It's such an awesome community. We love to help each other. We love to share information. So join us in the MetaTailor Discord. Sorry, I'm joking a bit. Talking too much. All right. Let's go ahead and jump into this. Let's go ahead and get started. Let's take a look at what we're playing with today. Pull up. So I'm going to start in Maya, where I modulated this character just to show you what we're going to be working on. I thought this was such a cool character that I found. And we're going to do the best. 3 a.m. Thank you, Gary. That's crazy. See if we can't make it sooner for you. That's awesome. Let's take a look at the desktop, plus my big old head. Get a little bit bigger. All right, so this is the really cool character that I found on Sketchfab for free. You can go on Sketchfab and find this same character. I just brought it into Maya to modulate it, to make all the different separate pieces here. So you can see we got the boots, the coat, and then I already went through and I exported all of these out as FBXs, made sure all the colors are there. We'll still have to do some coloring and some stuff like that. I've got it flat lit for right now, but I made it ready for MetaTailor. But yeah, I thought this was such a cool character, so I wanted to bring it into MetaTailor and get it onto a character creator character. So that's the goal for today. It's got a whole bunch of pieces, and we're going to get it in, and we're going to move it over to character creator. I have not tested it, so if we run into any issues, we will be troubleshooting those issues live. But that was my thought process for today. All right, so I've got Character Creator open. Remember, when you're working in Character Creator and MetaTailor simultaneously going back and forth, it's just helpful to have both open. If you click on Character Creator's button in MetaTailor to send it over, it'll open Character Creator for you. If you click on the MetaTailor button in Character Creator, it doesn't open up MetaTailor, so just having them open to start with makes life so much easier. So I was going to work on, we've been doing a lot of dudes, mostly because YouTube does not like the female characters in Character Creator. It wants to censor us, shut it down, all that other stuff. But I was going to work on one of these toon characters, this toon female character, to get this outfit on there. So I opened this one. This one should be YouTube friendly. The mods won't punish us for having a normal human body. But we're going to try to get this cool fur outfit on this character and send this over. Sorry, I gotta get used to the different mouse controls as I'm jumping back and forth between Maya and MetaTailor and Character Creator. At least Maya and MetaTailor are almost the same. So we've got this character. This is what we're going to send over. So let's click the button. Let's send it over to MetaTailor. It's that easy. You just click a button. It takes the avatar, shoots it over. If the avatar was dressed, it would bring it through the Mesh Extractor. Do we have a dressed toon character that we could take a peek at? No. I mean, I could throw one of these guys over again later if we've got time. That would work. We did the knight last stream. In our previous stream, we had a lot of success with the knight, changing those clothes over. But yeah, we can send this over. The cool part is if you've bought anything through Character Creator in any way, shape, or form, you can send it over to MetaTailor, get those outfits on any other avatar. So if you've purchased something, send it over to MetaTailor, get it modulated, start redesigning and changing outfits, changing clothes, build your digital wardrobe. All right, so let's go ahead and open up MetaTailor. It's asking us to name it. This one's like some like Winter Warrior or Winter, I'm gonna call it Winter Scout because they've got more. Even Scout doesn't feel like the right word for this. But they've got this kind of, they got a winter pack, they got a knife, they got a spear. Like a winter hunter, I think would be better. We'll call this CC4 Toon Woman. All right, keep the scale, all that's fine. And then just hit next step. If we had any clothes, if we wanted to extract something, this is the moment to do that. We'll try to sneak that in at the end of the stream to show you how cool and awesome MetaTailor's Mesh Extractor is. But that was the focus of last stream. So if you're really interested in this, if you want to see it in action, hop back to last week's stream, take a look at it. We took that full knight armor from Character Creator and we moved it over to MetaTailor and used this Mesh Extractor. It was really well done. So that was that. If you're interested in more streams like this, make sure you like and subscribe, hit the notification bell. We posted on our Discord channel we pretty much post it every Tuesday. That is coming up the next Saturday. If it's up there next Saturday, I should be in next Saturday. Just taking a look at my schedule. I got nothing planned. I should be here. This is my plan. Awesome. The best part, Character Creator, it puts all these landmarks in for you. If you brought an avatar from Sketchfab or Fab or DeviantArt or one you made yourself, you can absolutely use avatars you design yourself from Maya, ZBrush, Blender, 3ds Max, wherever you have an avatar. If you bring it from one of those outside programs, they absolutely still work in MetaTailor as long as it's an FBX or an OBJ. It needs a skin, it needs a skeleton. But the neat part about Character Creator 4 is it puts all the landmarks in the exact right spot for you. All of those are already ready to go, whereas if you do one from the web or from your own designs, you might have to place it. MetaTailor does a really good job of getting it in the right area, but sometimes you have to tweak it, fix it, and this is the step for that. But because it's Character Creator, all I have to do is hit next step. And if you're interested in seeing that, we got previous YouTube videos. We got YouTube videos on everything. If there's anything I'm showing you here that you're like, I'd love to see more of that, don't worry, we've got a video on it. You can see me, you can watch me do it, dive deep into a whole bunch of different stuff, and take a look at how that works. All right, so we've got our Toon character. We can start bringing in the outfit that I have and getting it matched to this character right here. I just want to go ahead and check our viewport settings. And how does our animations look? Our animations look good on this character. They're skinned so well. Looking great. Go back to our bind pose. We're ready to go. All right, so like I said, I already modulated in Maya how to get the outfit ready to go. We've got past videos on that, but we're just going to start importing the FBXs and seeing how they work. So I'm going to go up to my Import tab and Cloth and Accessories, and I'm going to go to my desktop, and I want to find where I've got this winter character right here. I got my FBXs. Let's go ahead and start with the shirt. Importing the shirt, the nice thing is I put these textures on in Maya, so they're already there. The one downside to this shirt, the way it was designed, is these sleeves are technically separate. Luckily, they're covered by the coat, but you can see right here where the mesh is kind of broken. That could cause issues in the animation. That's just an issue with the mesh itself. There's not much we can do about that. So I've got shirts. I'm going to go to my normals, throw some normals and stuff on here, make this look a little bit better. So this is called shirt. Shirt is called chest. And I'm doing normals. There's that. Ambient occlusion for the chest. Base color, metallic, roughness. They don't have ambient occlusion. That's fine. I can do my roughness for my chest. Do my metallic for my chest. And I can dial those up to get those a little bit more shiny and see how the light reflects off of it properly. It also has arms. That's where we can put the normals for the arms. Arms also included the gloves. Like I said, I stole this from Sketchfab. And by steal, that is just a hyperbole. It is free on Sketchfab. You can go on Sketchfab right now and find the same exact outfit and do everything that I'm doing. If you're interested in this outfit, if you want this outfit, how I've modulated it and all that other stuff, feel free to reach out. I'm happy to go ahead and either share my Maya file, share my FBXs, or share my MetaTailor file. Anything I do in here is free online, and I'm happy to share it with anybody who's interested in having it. All right, I've gonna set up all my textures for this. Now I'm gonna go in and I'm gonna call this a shirt. I always like to peek at the source dimensions. They look like it's too small or too giant that I can't even see it. So I'll just keep the source dimensions adjusted. Hit next step. And now I need to move our shirt and get it into place. If you've ever watched one of my streams before, you know my number one thing to do when we are placing a shirt. To get a shirt in the right position, what do I aim for? I always aim for the neck. The neck is just a great place to kind of determine the scale, determine the shape. This character was in a pose, so their body was rotated a little bit. So I'm going to try to rotate that a little bit more forward. There we go. That looks pretty good. I might want to touch it just a little bit, try to get a little bit more symmetrical. Awesome. Then I can go ahead and hit confirm, and then I can start my pose match. My pose match is where I go in, and this is kind of what determines our skin weighting. So I'm going to bring my hands in, have it match the pose of the shirt. And when you're ready, you could always test it and see kind of how those skin weights are pulling and how they're adjusting. If you need to, if like the character's legs, I know, are in two different positions, so we might have to do this for the pants. The shirt seems okay, but if you wanted to, you could turn mirroring off to kind of nail it into the pose that it's in. And actually, it looks like we do need to do this for the hands a little bit, because even though we got pretty close with the two of them, this hand is a little different. And that's because this was sculpted in something like ZBrush. It could have even been made in Maya. And the character was posed. They didn't have a nice neutral A pose. So because of that, I'll turn mirror off, and I'll just get this hand matching a little bit better. That's hitting right about there on the wrist. That's hitting right about there. Let's bring the elbow down a little bit. That might be helpful. There we go. There we go. Awesome. You turn mirror back on if I wanted to, but then we could do preview pose wrap and just see how it pulls the arms. Pulls them out a little bit, not too bad. It pulled a little bit of the chest out. So, well, let's also take a look at our hips. Our hips we can kind of pull in a little bit, pull back a little bit. Oops, that's our hands. Bring our shoulders out a little bit wider. Sometimes I'll cheat outside the mesh, like here and over here, because what that will give us is then the skin weights will stick to the chest, right here under the arms a little bit more, and the arms will kind of stick to the arms themselves. So doing something like that definitely helps. Let me turn this audio on my headphones down a little bit. It's a little wild, and it's not even showing up on here. You're just listening to me. All right, there we go. If you're trying to match this, you only need about a 60% match when you're working in MetaTailor. It doesn't need to be perfect. We can hit preview pose wrap again, take a look at that. I saw less movement under the arms. Let's do it one more time. So you saw less movement under the arms as it matches this tune position. Let's confirm, and let's see this in actuality. Let's get it out of the preview mode. Here it comes. Wraps, it tailors. All right, so it's sticking out in a couple places here and there. We can start to adjust that with the thickness, adding a little thickness in there. That fixes the majority of the issues. Under the arms, so this is exactly what I was talking about. This is because the arms are separate pieces. They have a little bit of an issue in the armpits. If I wanted to, I could start coming in here and maybe taking my grab tool and sculpting the layers. Under the arms is usually a big challenge, and it's an extra challenge on this one. You're absolutely right, Gary. It's an extra challenge on this one because the arms were considered separate meshes. They were not actually bound. These verts were not merged together. So you can try to come under here and stretch this back over a little bit like this and get that in there. I'm not too terribly worried because this character has a big old coat we're going to throw on there. So we won't necessarily see all that. Oh, that's awesome. We got improvements. Like I said in the beginning of the stream, we're always working on something. We're always making this better. Even though this is an amazing app, we can always make it better. There's always quality of life improvements. And we get those improvements from your suggestions. So join our Discord, jump in the comments, tell us what you'd like to see. A lot of our features are features that people have asked for. Like, oh, that's such a cool idea, and we run with it. I'm just going to smooth out these shoulders a little bit, shrink wrap these shoulders up here a little bit. They're feeling a little bulky. So I'm taking my shrink wrap tool and doing a nice big shrink wrap up here near the top. Hitting confirm. All right, I think I'm done noodling with the shirt. Let's get some pants on her. Pants. Pants are cool. Cool leather piece right here. Let's throw the normals on there. Here we go. Roughness. That's tools. Trousers. Looking good. Crank that metallic up. Pants are only pants. Pants are only pants. If there's ever a mesh you weren't interested in having, you can see there's a whole bunch of poly surface meshes. You could always click on one of these and it'll turn that off. That was one of the strings. Is there a better one? It's got a lot of strings in here. Let's come down to the bottom. There we go. So if I didn't want to actually import the pants and I only wanted the skirt, I have the option of turning that off in the import. And then you pick out all your materials, you set all your hues and saturations, and then you hit next step. Call them pants. It puts them in the pants position. Let's double check our source dimensions. Too big or too small. Next step. Now let's get these pants in. This is for a much larger character, a less toon-shaped body. It was more of a human-shaped body. If you're interested in the character, we previewed it at the start of the stream. And we took a peek at it. So if you're interested in seeing what it looked like, feel free to either go back and watch or whatever you'd like to do. But we did take a peek at it at the very beginning. Let's bring our knees back first. And then we can start to bring our feet back. And so this is where we need to turn that mirror off because they were in a pose. Or an angled pose. Looking for only about a 60% match. That's looking pretty good. Oops, undo that. Turn the mirror back on, and now move those hips together. Move them up a little bit. Move them out a little bit. Try to hit that outer edge there so it shrink wraps in a little bit nicer. All right. Make it a little bit smaller. Might have to use our shrink wrap brush. There we go. We're looking for about a 60% match there. That's pretty good. We can do preview our pose wrap. Bring it down a little bit lower. I don't like that, so let's go ahead and bring our hips. No, we gotta bring our hips down. There we go. And then out maybe a little bit more. Now preview that pose wrap. There we go. It kind of keeps it more right there in mid-waist. Let's hit confirm. Let's take a look. How did we do? MetaTailor do its magic. Combine it with the shirt. I eyeballed that pretty well. There's maybe a little bit of a gap there, but that's a pretty good hit right there. If we want the pants underneath the shirt kind of going over the pants, we could do that. And I do think I like that look a little bit better. Looking at the legs, a little bit of a hiccup right here. Let's just add a little thickness to it. Does that fix it? Not quite. Let's grab our push-pull. Maybe it is supposed to be a hole there. Maybe it's a tear in the pants. I think that might actually be a tear in the pants. Let's hit cancel. I can try grab. That's the only other one I could try. Oh, I guess no, it's not. Well, maybe. I don't know. Pull out a little bit. Pull forward a little bit. Pull this forward a little bit. Pull this out. Pull this out. Pull this out. Confirm. That's fine. It doesn't look bad. Import. Let's throw something else on here. Oops, that's the source. Let's go to our FBXs. Let's throw the coat on. Such a big, cool piece. The coat and then the fur around the neck were the two big things. I'm like, I'd like to see, especially the fur. I was like, I'd like to see if we can pull something like this in and make it look really good. coat, normal. No ambient occlusions. Normals are almost like reversed. It's weird. Roughness. Metal. It is a really cool coat. Hope it has no metallic, so we can take the metallic and leave it all the way down, take our roughness all the way up. And next step. Call this a jacket. Next step. Super teeny tiny, so grow that to be a lot bigger. Over the shoulders, maybe not that low, maybe up a little bit higher. Right, that looks good, right about there. So a little bit harder to hit the neck with this one. Once again, pose a little bit, so straighten that out. Bring it up, bring it back. Looking at the legs. All right. Confirm, start our pose match. So once again, bring that out a little bit. Bring our hands in, bring our elbows in. Get those inside this jacket right here. Make sure those hands are kind of covered up by the cuff there. That'll be really important. Bring those shoulders up. Bring those hips up a little bit. Bring those back a little bit. There we go. Bring those knees back a little bit. Awesome. That's pretty good. I'm going to go ahead and undo our mirror and just adjust this hand right here. This elbow right here. Preview pose wrap. Oh, we got too close to the hand right here. So this is an important note. Look at that. The preview pose wrap is really important for something like that. When you repose the hands, etc., are you not destroying what you did with the shirt? Nope, it is not destroying what it did with the shirt. It looks at each of them individually. So what happens is when you pose these hands and you pose everything, what it's doing is it's using that pose to kind of determine our skin weights. And this is a great example of that. This thumb is way too close. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move this hip over, and that's going to adjust this. So it's adjusting the mesh, not the skeleton. And that's why when we do our preview pose wrap, we can see how it adjusts to the skeleton. So let's go ahead and bring that back again. Let's bring that hand away a little bit closer to the top of the cuff here. We've got this hip here trying to kind of take over. Bring the hand up a little bit. And that's why you can keep kind of cheating it. It's still pulling a little bit right there. So maybe pull it a little bit farther away, pull the hip way over here, and really try to get this hip taking over this part of the coat. There we go. And now you can see that preview pose wrap works a little bit better. These two buttons that I didn't know were here when I was first making this are causing a little bit of an issue. If I bring this hand a little bit farther back, nope, I don't want to do that. So I got to bring that hand back a little bit more this way. Really keep it away from this edge of the coat. So this is a problem with a tight A pose. Something like this, what you could do is like I'm doing where you're cheating it a little bit, cheating it outside the mesh. If that's not working, bring a coat like into something like this into a T pose. It forces those sleeves to kind of pull away. So different ways to kind of cheat this if the T pose doesn't work. So there's different like little things you can keep doing, keep tweaking to get that to work right. Right here, by kind of moving that away, I got that to work right. These buttons, I'm going to use the visibility brush. If I was doing this for a client, if I was doing this for a project, what I would do is I'd go back into the original FBX and just delete those buttons out. I didn't know they were there. I don't want them. So I just delete those out. They're sticking to that jacket actually pretty okay looking right here. So that's not too bad. I'm not too worried. We'll check it in a second when we do some animation, but you can see these hips are looking a little bit better. Let's grab that jacket. Let's add a lot of thickness and let's go ahead. Let's see if we play with our yield. You can see the yield kind of pulls away. Yield kind of hugs the body a little bit better. So yield's like how stiff are some of these edges? How much are they pulling? Let's grab our grab tool. Let's sculpt the original. Let's kind of just pull this forward a little bit. Pull you forward a little bit. The coat kind of up like here. Just some light touch-ups. Oops. Right there. Let's hit confirm. Let those redraw, let those work. So it's got a little of a windswept look from the look to it, but I really like this jacket. Let's take a quick pause and look at our viewport settings And just look at a running pose. That's pretty cool. And then we could add our physics into the bottom of this if we wanted to and really get those flapping around. Let's quick do that, because if we keep adding stuff to this, it'll get a little bit bogged down. The mesh will get really big. So let's take a quick physics preview of this coat. So once you do physics, auto-generate parameters, manually paint the parameters, it comes back, paint blending. That's looking pretty good. I was going to add some more strength down here, but let's take a look at this. Confirm and do a running. There it goes. Ooh, maybe we need to stiffen that up a little bit. It's a really fine mesh. That's probably the problem with it. Manually paint those parameters. Let's go paint blending. Take the strength down a little bit. Darken those up. We might even have a hard time. Flood. A little bit better. Okay. Let's see if we can't find our magic number. Ooh, get a little bit more movement, a little bit more movement. There we go. That's right around here is kind of our magic number before they start to like break out and turn into fractals and artifact. Because the way they designed it, it's just little strips of like 10 faces. It's not very detailed. It's not high poly. You can see right about there, we're getting some good... Painting in a little bit more stiffness in the back and stuff where it sticks to the body. Maybe right here on the sleeves. Look at that secondary action there on the sleeves. Look at how great that looks. So right about there. So the mesh down here is okay. That's looking really cool. All right, let's get out of physics. Go back to our design. Let's get some more parts now. Yeah, dang, this is I don't know much about this side of modeling, so it's amazing to see. It's really cool. The physics in this is really intuitive. It's really easy to use compared to other programs where you have physics that are a little bit tough, even compared to CC4, which has physics, but it isn't as detailed as MetaTailor's. It doesn't go as in depth. So if you want to take the physics out of MetaTailor and put it into Character Creator 4, that's an option. You can take the physics maps out of MetaTailor and put them into Character Creator 4. Absolutely doable. It takes a couple extra steps that we're not going to get into today, but if you like what you paint and create in here, it definitely can transfer over. So let's go ahead and throw something else in here. Now this one, I don't know if it's going to work. We're going to try. We're going to try the fur. The fur was this big, like, kind of fur hood that sat around the top. And right off the bat, it looks cool. The transparency looks like it's kind of working. So let's throw the normals in here. For the fur roughness metallic, it just is. Where's my fur normals? Coat, fur, coat normal. Looks like the fur doesn't have normals, which is okay. So that means... like the roughness, you can see the roughness and the metallic don't have anything. So I'm just going to go ahead and drop both of them down to nothing to make this kind of white and fluffy. Next step. This sits right around the neck, right around the head. So I might even call it part of the head and make it hair, but kind of drag it a little bit lower down to the neck. That's what I'm thinking. It can be a headpiece, but it sits right here on the shoulders. I'm just going to kind of straighten that out a little bit. I'm going to make it a lot bigger. Maybe not that big. Maybe shrink it a little bit for this cartoonier character. And I don't need to pose match anything because it's not matching any of the hands or anything. Maybe if I wanted to do a pose match, maybe I just pull the neck up a little bit like that. Let's preview what that does. It just kind of pulls the fur down around the head a little bit better. Confirm. Next step. And yeah, it kind of goes around the hood like that. That's exactly what it's kind of supposed to be doing. It is affecting everything in a weird way. You can see it's pushing the shirt down, it's pushing the hood down. So I can turn off effects layering, and then it just kind of exists there with everything else. It's in addition to, instead of making anything not work. It's adding the fur on top of everything. It doesn't look fantastic, but it's there. And we'll get more pieces in here, and if we want to lose it, we can lose it. But I wanted to see how that fur looked. It looks a little bit better online on the Sketchfab download and in Maya because of the transparencies and the cards. But it works. All right, let's throw in something else. That one was an easy one. So we got our coat, we got our fur, gloves. We'll do those in a second. We can start pulling in, let's say, the necklace is cool. Let's grab, some of these accessories are neat. I guess we'll grab the pack. It's this big old backpack thing that kind of goes across their back. What do they call this one? I called it Fong E11, but it is the luggage. I don't know why I didn't save my name for it. Yep, that worked. Okay, just making sure that was the right one. And then we got our luggage roughness. It has no metallic. Anything else? Nope, just that one. There was, yeah, absolutely. There was a stream we did just to show when gloves first came out. When we did gloves, when gloves first came out, where I showed the technical side, the technical art of rigging a hand, and how the most basic, simple, no controls, bones only rig for a hand took like 20 to 30 minutes. It took forever to just get a hand rigged. And the fact that the gloves in MetaTailor is simply like 10 clicks, and it's just to put the joints in the right spot, it took less than 5 minutes. Mind-blowing. The amount of technical stuff that MetaTailor is doing for me, and this is coming from me, a professional 3D artist. I worked in freelance, I've worked in rigging, I've worked on video games, professional 3D generalist specializing in rigging and animating. The amount of stuff that just MetaTailor is doing for you is boggling. It is flabbergasting. It is amazing how much it's just skinning and painting and rigging and setting this all up to be able to push into Unreal, to be able to push into Unity with just a click of a button. Amazing stuff. Absolutely amazing stuff. So we got this pack. We're going to call it a backpack. Next step, we're going to swing it over the arms. Whenever you're working on a backpack, I have made this mistake in the past. Make sure it has the actual armholes. Like, you can download some really cool backpacks from Sketchfab. The only problem is where you put the arms in, the straps, they're flat to the backpack because they took a photograph, a 3D photograph of the actual backpack to get it photorealistic. And they don't have anybody wearing it. And that's a really difficult, almost impossible to fix in MetaTailor just because it wasn't designed that way. It wasn't designed to sit across shoulders because they took a picture of it without the straps. So something just to consider whenever you're working on a backpack. You can see I'm getting this one positioned a little bit better, make it a little bit bigger. Kind of scale everything so far, so I'm not too worried about scaling this. This is sitting pretty good though. Rotate it maybe a little bit more back this way. There's not much I'm going to have to do for this one. Let's hit confirm. We can hit start pose match. Maybe just like drag the shoulders back a little bit just to preview the pose wrap. Look at that. That looks great. Let's hit confirm. Next step. A full outfit on a character that wasn't designed to fit together used to take more than multiple hours of work, I'd argue. I'd say it just wasn't possible. It wasn't an option. If I wanted to put this shirt, this coat on something else, it wouldn't happen. I'd have to pose the character, shape the character, blend the character. I'd be better off just rebuilding the coat on my own. All right, so the pack is affecting a couple things in a weird way. You can see the sleeve under here is getting adjusted by the backpack here. So if you wanted to, we can kind of come in here and do some shrink wrapping on the sleeve. How come that doesn't feel like shrink wrap? Oh, because it's pushing. Because it's shrink wrapping to the body that wants to attach to it. So I'm going to kind of take this and force you away. From the body. Hit confirm, let it redo its tailoring. And I'll shrink wrap it a little bit more. Now you can see it shrink wrapping in the right direction. There we go. Now I got that backpack. Little Boda bag here, and everything's adjusting to itself. The subtle things this is doing with the straps going over the shoulder, we can see that by going to the backpack. And if I turn off effects layering, you can see the straps just kind of roll inside everything. So after all that posing, not only is that posing considering the model and the position of the model, it's considering all the other outfit items, and it's adjusting the pack based on those other outfit items. So it knows these straps are supposed to come around the body, but there's 2 extra layers of clothing that we need to pull this out in front of. And you get to decide where that sits with this dynamic layering. Now, because these are kind of weird imported FBXs, there aren't any thumbnails for some reason. It's an issue with the FBX. But you can see I can drag this pack down below the shirt, and it pushes those straps back under the shirt. If this pack was supposed to be under this stuff, it'll try its best to slip that under the clothes. It has a little bit of trouble with the coat because it comes out so far, but you can see it's definitely trying. Bring it back up so it's over the shirt but under the coat. Bring it back up so it's over the coat. It adjusts and it moves those clothing items to get those straps sitting nicely across the character's back. All right, let's throw some boots in there, and it's pretty close to done. I have all these other fun accessories we could add in there, but we're at 9:37. I want to send this over to character creator here in a second. I don't want to take too much time. Wizardry is the right word. Let's take a look at a boot. What this is all about. Here's a wintry boot, snowy boot. So the character came with 2 boots. One boot, they actually had their foot posed upward like they're on their tiptoes. Deleted that because we can mirror the boot over. So we're going to go to our normal map on our shoes. Early aughts references. Shoes. Shoes normals. Shoes roughness. Shoes does have a metallic. Make sure shoes is the only material. It is. Next step. Call it a shoe. Next step. Scale it, rotate it, move it. The nice part about doing one shoe as well is I only have to pose it to one foot. I move the actual object itself, and I don't have to really do a pose match on the foot. I just pose this object more so. Might have to do a little bit of pose matching to get this to look a little nicer. Like you can see the leg is bent in a different direction. Have some toes sticking out. The 60% works with this as well, but the better you can kind of get that foot of course, the better you can get something matching, the better it'll just work. But you don't have to be absolutely perfect. You don't have to be precious with it. Bring that knee back a little bit, bring it over a little bit, bring it down a little bit. Preview that pose wrap as you can see it just moves that foot forward. Hit confirm, hit next step, pun intended. Get that boot on there. So you can see the boot's trying to eat the fronds of the jacket. We'll just bring that so it's only above the pants. The only thing it's eating is the pants. So the pants are tucked into the boot. And like I said, we've got one boot. Let's throw it over and mirror it. Boom, character has 2 boots. How does all of this look animated? Well, let's go ahead and go into running. Pack could use a little bit more stiffness. It's hugging the body a little bit. It's supposed to be sticks. I think that's probably something making me adjust a little bit with the yield. Yeah, the yield's going to help that a little bit. Also, dynamics would help that big time. Still, look at those feet. Look at how it's running. Look at the body, just working. All right, I wanted to do one glove. We'll see how this glove works. It wasn't the best made glove, but I want to show you our gloves because the gloves are so powerful. Let's see how well it works. I might delete the glove because it was not a good mesh. It was very low poly. It's in this kind of relaxed pose here. Let's give it a shot. This will be our arms normals. Our arms roughness. Does it have metallic? No. Gloves. Gloves is a feature available only to our pro users. And it's a left hand. I always forget to double check. And so when you're working on a glove, this is really magic. And I think we decided going from the top is a better fit. But all you have to do is you got to click where you want that wrist to be. And then you just follow along. Where do I want the first joint of my thumb to be? I'm going to have 3 thumb joints. I'm going to have 1, 2, 3. So right about here, 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 and then the tip of the thumb right there. And that's it. It landed it. Now for the knuckles back here, 1. Probably have 1, so it's a little hard to tell. 1. Say right here, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. And let's take a look. So that last one I probably should have undone and done a little bit better because you can see the hand's kind of messing up just a little bit on that pinky. Everything else, though, it landed almost perfectly center mass. It did a fantastic job. All right, we got that glove placed with that last click. We hit next step. That does the pose matching for you. Oh, the avatar doesn't support gloves. That's okay. It's probably because it's a CC4 avatar. I would switch avatars and show you how that works instead, but let's clear the glove. That's an issue with the avatars. Our MetaTailor avatars support gloves just fine. So let's grab cloth and accessories. But that's how easy the gloves are. Maybe we'll go back and take a peek at those again on a MetaTailor character. FBXs, you can grab the spear. Simple accessory. I'll just hit next step. Call it an accessory, next step. Where do you want to put that accessory? Or how big do you want that accessory to be? I like to get it close to the hand, kind of, oops, get a good scale of it. Like right about, maybe a little smaller. Right about there though, that's good. Confirm, next step. And then for accessories, like, hey, what do you want to attach it to? And you can either attach it to the hand, you can attach it to the back. It looks for a close joint to attach it to. It's like right there, perfect. So it's doing it to the thumb. I can kind of reposition it. Grab the spear. There we go. It's a little thin. Grab the spear. Slide it right there into her hand. There we go. Make it a little bit bigger. I feel like it's flat. I feel like it rendered flat. I don't know why. Like the transparency on it's a little weird. The mesh is a little weird. So you can see it wants to go to the thumb. I can parent to closest. I could also find something else. CC base. This is R thumb. I'd probably do my R hand. I want us to grab that thumb. But I would rather it stick to the hand. There we go. And confirm. So it parents it to the hand. And then if we go to our viewport settings, night spin and jump. Wah, smack. Still a little huge. A little smaller. And if we go to one of the other ones, walk with rifle. Where's a good one? Climbing pole. All right, now I'm just messing around. Back to our bind pose. All right, she had some cool belt things, another like water bottle, slingshot, a knife. All of those things were really cool. I don't think there's anything else I want to do right now before we send it over to CC4. So let me just double check. Water, spear, slingshot, shirt, pants, pack. The necklace was neat. I can quick throw that in there. It's this really cool necklace. I got rid of some of the pieces here on either side from the original mesh because they had not done all of the beads underneath because they're hidden by certain things. And I didn't want those to show up on accident. You could call this an accessory, but I'm going to call this, once again, maybe like a headpiece or even a belt. A belt, sometimes when I have something round like this, could be really cool, and you can put that belt wherever you want. A belt doesn't have to be around the waist. A belt can be... I'm not going to finish that sentence. But you can see I could place this around the neck. And just have this cool kind of art piece. And the reason why I went with belt instead of accessory, because you could see with the accessory on the spear, it was a little bit stiff. It didn't necessarily move the physics as much because it treated it like a spear. A spear isn't supposed to be wiggly and bendy. This, I do want it to follow the skin weighting a little bit better. So let's go ahead and hit start next step. You can see some of these are clipping into the body, but I think we'll be okay. I think it'll push those out for us. Those animations that we saw in there are in MetaTailor. Put that underneath the fur. They are in MetaTailor, but all of these animations, and the pros in the chat can correct me if I'm wrong, I am 99% positive. These are all animations from Mixamo. So you can find these same animations on Mixamo, these same movements on Mixamo. It's just we've imported them and made them work for our MetaTailor characters, made a couple tweaks here and there, but the base animations are all Mixamo animations. All right, so there's that necklace. It's sitting on there just nicely. It's wrapping around. I could probably turn off effects layering, but then you can see it doesn't move the little parts. So a way to fix that would be to separate the neck into two pieces. Have one neck piece for the neck that doesn't necessarily get affected by the shirt and the coat. Have that one have the effects layering turn off, and then have all the tassels be their own pieces that you attach on there. And those are affected by the layering, so they move with the shirt and everything like that. So I will go ahead and hit effects layering, and maybe I'll turn the shrink wrap up and tighten it up that way. The global shrink wrap. Moving underneath the coat as well, that'll help. You can see it getting it pulled a little bit this way. There we go. And I'm going to find some hair in our own all content. Clothing, find some hair. Because I did not import that hair. Ooh, let's grab this hair right here. This is another version of the Karlach hair. And that works really well. This is Karlach from Baldur's Gate's hair that we've just thrown on there from a past stream. It works really well. All right, let's send this over to CC4. Let's take a look at all this. So once you're ready to go, once you have everything in here and you're happy to work with it, all you have to do is go to export. I've got CC4 open. Make sure you have CC4 open. If you don't have CC4 open and you hit send to CC4, it'll open it for you and you just have to hit this button again. Take a note, we've also got send outfit to Unity, send outfit to Unreal. Two really quick buttons. You click it, it sends it over, it's ready to go. Whenever you're working in Unreal, make sure you hit your Unreal 5.5 rotation fix right here. But otherwise, I'm just going to send this to CC4. This was all worked on a CC4 avatar. That's what's making this work. The avatars have to match on either side. So I started the stream out with a CC4 avatar that I then sent to MetaTailor, got it dressed, imported all of this stuff pulled from Sketchfab. This is not a MetaTailor outfit. This is not a CC4 outfit. We looked at it in Maya. This is something I downloaded, a completely different character that I downloaded and made work in MetaTailor by modulating it and bringing it into CC4, which it is now importing that FBX file. And it just works. That is the magic of MetaTailor right now. It is taking these pieces from the web, from wherever. Let's say you bought it on Fab. Let's say you bought it from an Unreal package, which is still now Fab, but you bought it a long time ago. Let's say you found it on DeviantArt, Sketchfab, Fab, TurboSquid, anywhere where you got an outfit or an avatar. MetaTailor makes it work across anything. It takes those dumb meshes and turns them into smart meshes. Instead of watching a bar sit as it tries to import some really big FBXs, let's look at my wonderful face right here. So it takes those dumb meshes and turns them into smart meshes that become interchangeable. I could take all of these pieces I created and put them on a different avatar. I could put them on a completely different avatar that has nothing to do with CC4 that I want to send to Unreal Engine or Unity, which I can do with just a click of a button. And it sends it over. It gets it set up. These are now rigged and game ready. You can put them into any game. There's a whole series we have out there on metahumans, getting metahumans dressed, which is really cool because the metahumans are super detailed. You can pull a metahuman down from the web, put your MetaTailor clothes on it, or any clothes on your metahuman, and it just works. It binds it, it rigs it, they're animatable, they're movable, it works. So that's what's really, really cool. MetaTailor has been this missing link that we've had in the industry for a long time. And it just serves such an amazing purpose by connecting these programs. We now have this integration with CC4. We're working on a whole bunch of other things behind the scenes that we're going to be announcing as we come out. You can see we've got updates coming out for fixing the arms and fixing all these different things. But it's just amazing how well all of this works. So it's only on 13%. If you have any questions, feel free to shout them out in the chat. We'll talk about those. We'll take a look at those. Let that kind of move over. I mean, while that's working, we can take a look at that in a second. Let's go back to the desktop. Let's bring in some of these other pieces here. I don't want to change it to another avatar in case it messes anything up. We can go back to design. We can go to import. Ooh, my computer's chugging. I better not. I better not like blue screen or crash out. So I'll leave it alone for a moment as I freeze. As I was doing too much. All right. We'll leave it alone. We won't keep hitting buttons. I was getting overzealous. Oh, we're at 30%. It's jumping. So while I have a captive audience while we're waiting for this to send over to CC4, because we did a lot of big FBXs. Make sure you like and subscribe. Make sure you hit that bell. Make sure you follow all our streams. I try to be here every Saturday at 9 o'clock p.m. We got Gary in the chat, who it is now almost 4 a.m. for them. Maybe we'll start holding these a little bit earlier for our viewers like Gary, who are in whatever horrible time zone that is. It's not correct Central Time like I'm in, or Central Standard Time here in the United States. But maybe we'll start running it a little bit earlier. We try to find this 9 o'clock to find a good median for our European viewers, our Asian time zones, our Pacific time zones, and stuff like that. So 9 p.m. has kind of been our sweet spot. But if anybody's interested in another time, let us know. Join our Discord. Our Discord community is absolutely fantastic. We have experts in MetaTailor, experts in Maya, Unreal, Unity, Character Creator 4. You got questions, we got answers. And if we don't have the answers, we'll look it up, we'll research it, we'll get back to you. UK, yeah, see, no, it's no credits in New Zealand. I said Pacific. If you got for Pacific time zone, don't you? I love New Zealand. I got friends in New Zealand. Someday, when I'm a billionaire, I'll move to New Zealand if you'll have me. Will it work? Did we do too much? Have we blown Character Creator 4 away? MetaTailor is able to handle it. Come on, Character Creator. MetaTailor did just fine. I am surprised because I was limiting how much we were doing. I wasn't putting too much stuff in. I feel like this is less polys than our Knight. Less polys than some of the other stuff we've brought over. I don't know why Character Creator's not liking this. And it's locked up my computer, so I feel like I can't click on anything else. Hear my graphics card roaring. We'll try again. Let's mess with importing something. We'll get too scared. Let's go ahead and bring in the knife. The knife was, oh no, the mask. I completely forgot about the mask. Let's go ahead and bring in the mask. So this mask the character was holding. I don't know if it's meant to fit over their face, but let's give it a shot. Let's take a look at this mask. Let's call it a head. Just a really cool design mask here. It has no straps or anything that kind of indicates how it would attach to the head. So maybe we'll pull in our own belt or something. Let's hit confirm. We don't need a pose match. Let's hit next step. Let that add on. While that adds on, let's flip over to character creator. Still just chilling at 30%. Mask works okay. It's definitely meant for more of an accessory piece held in the character's hand or maybe attached to the character's back. At least this one is. It's a cool mask, though, to have in here. Might change it over to an accessory. And it could also be because the character's a cartoon head that that's not working as well. Bring in the water. That had some nice hanging parts. It's a cool little like water bottle with a stopper. I'm going to call this a vest because it was hanging down the side of the character. I want it to move with the body. I don't want it to move like an accessory. So I'm going to call it a vest. Move it out a little bit. And it really did. It kind of sat almost perfectly right there against the character's body like that. That strap kind of hidden underneath the coat. Hit confirm, hit next step. Let's just get that in there. And I am going to move it underneath the coat, but above the shirt. And also, just in case, move it underneath the necklace. And let's let it tailor, and let's see how well it does. And look at that. It kind of just slots right in there. A little affected by some stuff, but that strap kind of goes over and under there, so it looks like it's hanging there. From a quick glance, it looks pretty good. The slingshot was right next to it, so let's go ahead and grab that. And we don't have to match the actual character if we don't want. The slingshot's really cool. I'll call this one a belt piece because it's supposed to sit on the belt. Slingshot was sitting right next to the, really big, water bottle there. And kind of wrapped around that big cloth piece. But if we wanted to, we could flip this slingshot over to somewhere else. It might even be cool character design wise. Maybe like, what if we like attached it to the well, maybe we'll do that to the knife. That'll be a little bit better. Let's do that for the knife. Instead, I'll bring the slingshot to the other hip. It's a really cool slingshot to have for other characters too. I really just like having this accessory, this piece in here for other characters. I think that'll be cool just to have. Same thing, bring it under the coat. It shouldn't affect the necklace, but I'll just bring it under just in case. It won't. There is no just in case. It won't do anything. It's a little bit low, but that's okay. Because honestly, it was supposed to be kind of like along this strap right here. That's what those two belt pieces are for. I don't know what tool I accidentally hit there. There it goes. It's moving the coat. It's moving everything over so you can see it underneath there. Looks like it attaches to something. Let's hit import, grab that knife while we're still waiting, and then we'll take a peek. And then that really is the last thing, besides those gloves, that is the last thing that we didn't import while we're waiting for CC4 to load and show how it's working. So I don't know if we're going to see CC4 today. Or I'll close out a CC4, let it crash out. And then I'll import something a little bit easier. Knife. I'll call this one nope, I meant to hit accessories. Call this one an accessory. Where are you? Oh, you're all the way down there. Reset. Previous step. There we go. That was weird. What if this is like strapped to the arm, like the upper arm? I really like the design of this character. It alludes to the fact that it's not necessarily like an ancient warrior. They have some really intricate and neat costume items, but some of the features on those items, like the tang of this knife, which is how the blade attaches to the handle, loses the fact that this isn't necessarily an ancient character. They could just be somebody in traditional clothing. It could be like an apocalypse scenario, and they built this themselves, or they found this knife, and they just kind of had to live off the land or something like that. It could be something along those lines. But like the nature of some of these tools, while simple, are still really well made, which, like I said, gives it this kind of like illusion of this isn't some ancient person. This isn't somebody from like 400 BC. They have blacksmithing, they have quality, they have craftsmanship. And so that's just one of the things that kind of drew me to this character, I feel. Yeah, what if the knife was like up here on the sleeve or even down on the arm? Just different options, different tailoring options to take a look at this. So I'll save this out. And we'll hit home because the MetaTailor portion of this is done. Let's go back to, yep, character creator not responding, close the program. Open character creator back up. Open MetaTailor back up. Let's do a quick new project. Call this one, what's something easy? Let's do Nancy. Non-monster Nancy. Hunger Games, very much Hunger Games. Yeah, it could definitely be some Hunger Games. Let's go to our avatars. Because we imported it once, I should have CC4 cartoon avatar ready to go. Bring it back in. Go back to our clothing. I'm going to go back to our shirts. I'm just going to move over a couple things here. Shirts. This Dante sweater from our Nancy character. It's been a little weird around the mouth. Let's go to grab, sculpt original. There we go. Kind of fixed that. And it's probably because it has that. Okay, let's go back to grab, sculpt original. It's got this kind of like this part right here in the middle that wasn't deleted out. I found like deleting these parts out does make, like, it's a toss up. You could delete it out. You don't have to delete it out. I have found that deleting out like this center part right here does make it a little bit better. Works a little nicer. All right, don't want to mess with it too much. Let's find some pants. Untuck those pants, or untuck that sweater. All right, let's quick throw this back over to CC4. Two very simple items. Flip back over to CC4, close. Cancel. And let's just grab our neutral female character again. You have to have the character open for this to work. All right, back to MetaTailor. So now that it's open, I guess give it a second, let it think. All right, back to MetaTailor, send to CC4. It should send these two clothing options. In an ideal world, it would have sent over all of that cool winter character stuff and put it on our character here in Character Creator. But as you can see, these outfits that I had from a while ago before our integration with CC4, they're in here, they work, they match, they're on our character. If it isn't too big, if Character Creator can't handle it, it's super easy. It transfers back and forth. Female, we do a female walk. Now the physics are CC4's physics. It is not importing any of the physics that we have on the character, but it is nicely rigged and skinned, so it should still work with their animations. Joys of I do love that part of live demos. Absolutely. The joys of live demos. The fact that everything worked up until we tried to send it over. But to me, that is super important for these live demos because you get to see the troubleshooting. You get to see my brain acting and working live for, okay, something's happening. What could it be? And this time it's just, it was too many pieces. It was too many parts. Let's see if we can get that code over. Let's at least try to get that code over. Go back to content design, content browser. Let's just make sure there was something we could have done. Coat. That looks cool on its own. That looks like something you'd buy right now in a store. Export, send it over to CC4. If this doesn't work, that tells me there's something inherently wrong with the FBXs, the meshes, but there really shouldn't be. That coat was not high poly. Maybe it doesn't like the tassels. And the fact that it's stuck at 13% again, it looks okay. Now it's at 30. Will you jump past 30 or will you get stuck at 30 again? Did we discover something that CC4 can't handle together? Because I've never had a jacket with tassels like that before. Yeah, I think we did. That must be it. My favorite part of the whole piece. The cursed coat. Oof. That's still running, that's still running. Everything's looking fine there. Here. Look at me for a second while I, close the program. It's the jacket. All right, I'll stop trying to import it in. We got to see it transfer some simpler items, some items we pulled from DeviantArt a long time ago. That's that Dante sweater and flared jeans. Those actually were stolen, I believe, from Sims 4. I think those were rips from Sims 4 that somebody put up on DeviantArt and I took. And we uploaded it and got them in there to show some more just kind of simple clothing. So that's really neat. But that's it for tonight's stream then. You can see that we can take an avatar out of Character Creator, bring it over to MetaTailor, get it dressed, pull wherever we want from the web, get that onto the character in MetaTailor, make sure everything fits, everything's rigged, everything's skinned, and with a simple click, we can send it to Unreal, we can send it to Unity, or like we did tonight, we can send it over to Character Creator 4 with the simpler outfit. So my guess as to why Character Creator was not working is those 50 or 60 fronds at the bottom of the coat that was combined in Maya, so it was one object. But if CC4 is looking at that FBX, technically that's probably 50 or 60 objects it was trying to bring in at the same time if it's breaking it down by the separated pieces. I don't know how Character Creator 4 is importing those, but my guess is those 40 or 50 fronds at the bottom of the coat, it did not like. So if I was to get rid of the coat, and the other thing that had that would be the fur, the other thing that would have that would be the pack. The pack was a big one. All those sticks for their own pieces. The pants. So really the only thing I probably could have imported from that character, if that's what was causing the issue, if that was what was causing the crash, would have been maybe the shirt, the knife, the slingshot, the water bottle, and the spear. So that, and the boot. Well, the boots still had about 5 or 6 different meshes in there, but that was only 5 or 6. So the boots might have went over just fine. But that's my guess. But yeah, so that is Character Creator 4. Thank you all for watching. I'm just babbling now, just talking now. So make sure you like and subscribe. We'll be back here 9 p.m. next Saturday. Watch the Discord channel. Join our Discord channel. That's where I post all the announcements of the upcoming streams. Sometimes we have secret streams in the Discord. If we've got a new feature like the Character Creator 4 plugin coming out, we'll usually announce it first on Discord for our awesome Discord fans. And then the week following, I hop on and I talk about it. So feel free to join us on our Discord, absolutely free, full of great community members, full of great information, and show us what you're creating. Otherwise, that's it. Oh, I don't know if this crashed. Did I crash out? Looks like my camera might have crashed. If you can hear me, well, thanks for sticking around. Everything's breaking down. I'll see you later. Go get dressed.